today, so all looks good, and we do know that foreigners have been buying bonds. Is that being reflected in part in some kind of strength coming back into the rand dollar?
Morning, Godfrey. Unfortunately not. At this point, the rand is still stuck in that 696. And in fact, the bias does remain towards further rand weakness. We believe that there's been increased imported demand, and when you add to that the fact that the Reserve Bank may have continued to accumulate reserves, particularly with the rand still at around the 7 rand level. And in addition, yesterday we saw that the dollar strengthened briefly. The euro certainly stopped strengthening against the dollar, lost some momentum there, and there were all-round softer commodity prices that we saw. So the rand certainly hasn't strengthened as much as one might have expected, and in fact has weakened, and the bias towards further rand weakness remains.
Yeah, so with that in mind, then, so what's your sort of range for the day? Do you see perhaps the currency sliding even further from where we are trading at the moment?
Well, the range that the rand has traded in recently has been from about 696 to 714. We don't see it moving particularly out of this range today. Of course, we do have the FOMC meeting occurring later today, and that may have some impact, particularly on the dollar. But as far as the rand goes, we would expect it to trend around these levels in the absence of any other market-moving data.
Yeah. Now, one of the possible market-moving data that might likely also have an impact is, of course, the Eskom bond, which is closing today, and speculation has been that that might have an impact. But at the same time, there's also a suggestion that Eskom itself may have hedged most of that money, and therefore that money won't come into the market. What are you seeing from Standard Bank side?
Well, on this side, Godfrey, we believe that most of the impact on the rand actually occurred last week when there was that great expectation of foreign inflows as a result of that bond. But we believe that, as with many large foreign transactions, the Reserve Bank may actually attempt to divert those flows for reserve accumulation purposes. And so we don't think that there's going to be any residual impact on the rand at this stage.
Yeah, you spoke earlier about FOMC. What are you expecting out of there? Some people are suggesting that what we could potentially be looking at here is a change in the language. And perhaps while you're at it, you might also comment about the BOA minutes. What kind of issues are you looking at there?
Well, we'll start firstly with the FOMC. They're widely expected to maintain an unchanged stance as far as monetary policy is concerned, and also reaffirm their commitment to QE2, buying up $600 billion worth of bonds. So as far as that aspect is concerned, no change expected from the FOMC, but as you mentioned, everyone will be closely scrutinizing the minutes. In the US, as with many other countries, we've seen rises in energy and food prices, so it'll be interesting to see what the FOMC's view is on future inflation trends in the US, and whether that may potentially affect monetary policy going forward. If you look at the BOE, it's really just a release of the bank's minutes of a meeting that was held earlier this month, and the BOE MPC has been divided. Most continuously opted for an unchanged monetary policy stance, and that is in fact what happened earlier in the month. But there have been two dissenting members, one calling for tighter monetary policy and the other calling for more relaxed monetary policy. So what everyone will be looking for in the meeting minutes is whether any of the majority members who have voted for an unchanged stance are perhaps appearing to soften and lean in favor of one of the other positions.
Indeed, the evidence has also been showing that the UK economy is in a mixed state, if you like.